You know the feeling, right? You're in a conversation, a big meeting, maybe giving a presentation, and your brain is just scrambling for the next word. So what does your mouth do? It fills that gap with an or an or a like. It feels so natural, but all it really does is clutter up your message. So today, we're going to break down why we do this and how to replace those filler words with something way more powerful: silence. This quote from Ultra Speaking just nails it, doesn't it? For so many of us, silence feels like failure. It's that awful, terrifying moment where your train of thought just derails and you freeze. The silence isn't a choice. It's something that happens to you. But what if we could completely flip that around?
And that brings us to our first idea here, the verbal crutch. We literally use these little sounds and words to hold ourselves up when we feel like we're about to stumble in our own speech.
But here's the problem. While these little crutches might feel like they're helping us get by, they're actually doing the exact opposite. They act like this fog that just rolls in and completely masks the clarity and the power of what you're trying to say. They create noise, and that forces your listener to work way harder just to figure out what your point is.
Yeah, we all know these guys, right? Like, the usual suspects. Honestly, the first step is just admitting you have a favorite. Go on, look at the list. Which one is your go-to crutch? We all have one.
And wow, this just lays it out perfectly. On the left, you've got that cluttered, hesitant speech. It sounds so uncertain, right? But on the right, minimalist speech. Just feel the power in its simplicity. The report is done. That little pause right before it, that's not weakness, it's weight. It makes the statement land with so much more confidence and authority.
Okay, so if the solution is that simple, just be quiet. Why is it so incredibly hard to do? Well, that takes us to our next section, the fear of silence. And believe me, this fear is deep-seated and it goes way back.
I mean, think about it. From the time we're kids, we're taught to have an answer right away. When a parent or a teacher asks a question, a long pause is seen as being disrespectful, or it means you just don't know the answer. We carry that conditioning with us our whole lives, and it creates this intense pressure to just fill any and all dead air.
And this quote, this just captures that internal panic perfectly. When we go quiet, we feel totally exposed. We imagine everyone in the room staring, judging us, thinking, wow, they messed up. It feels like a giant spotlight on a mistake. But here's the secret. That's only happening inside our head.
So, how do we fix this? How do we build the solution? Well, it all starts with this strategic pause. This is where we completely reframe silence, turning it from an accident into an intentional, powerful tool. Let me ask you a question. What if that moment of panic, that feeling of going blank, could actually become your greatest strength as a speaker? Seriously, what if you could learn to harness that exact moment instead of letting it control you?
And here it is. This is the absolute key. Your audience cannot tell the difference between you having an internal meltdown and you taking a thoughtful, deliberate pause. They look exactly the same from the outside. The only way they'll ever know you lost your train of thought is if you tell them, either with an or a look of sheer terror. This insight gives you all the power back.
And there's actually a name for this: strategic silence. Look at this definition. It's not just about being quiet. It's a calculated pause, a deliberate absence of speech. It's a choice you make to achieve a specific goal, whether that's gathering your thoughts, adding some drama, or just commanding the room.
Okay, so this brings us to the practical stuff, the how-to. How do we actually pull this off in the real world? Let's get into the mechanics of mastering the moment.
The technique is almost ridiculously simple. It's just 3 steps. When you're asked a question or you finish a thought, instead of rushing to fill the silence, you just do this. 1. You pause. You just deliberately stop. 2. You think. You give your brain a beat to catch up and actually form the words. And only then, step 3, you answer.
But what do you do during that pause, especially when your mind starts racing and the panic sets in? The key is to get out of your head and get into your body. Just take a quiet, deep breath. Focus on that physical feeling. It literally short-circuits the panic and gives your brain the clean, quiet space it needs to think clearly.
And where can you use this? Pretty much everywhere. Your boss hits you with a tough question? Pause. You're telling a great story and you want to build some suspense? Pause. You get put on the spot to say a few words? Take a breath and pause. It is a universal tool for better, stronger communication. All right, let's bring this all home. This is about more than just a technique. It's about shifting your entire mindset. It's about owning the silence.
Just look at the payoff here. When you master the pause, you don't seem forgetful. You come across as confident and authoritative. You don't seem slow. You seem thoughtful and unhurried. And it's not just for you. It gives your audience a second to actually absorb what you just said. It makes you a calmer, clearer, and way more effective communicator.
And if you remember one thing, let it be this: confidence is everything. When you own your silence, when you pause like you have every right in the world to take that moment, people respect it. They don't jump in. They lean in. They wait for what you have to say next because you've just signaled to them that it's going to be worth waiting for.
So let's end with this. We have to stop thinking about silence as an empty void that we have to fill. It's not. It's a presence. It's the space where real thought happens, where emphasis is built, and where true confidence is shown. It isn't empty space, it's thinking space. So the only question left is, how will you use yours?